welcome to Ashley's Heart Song. This is where we release the stress and get back into our body, our life, and our business. When we tap into the song of our heart, that is when we master the mind and the stress that steals our life. Welcome to today's show. I am so happy that you're here. We are on an adventure for 2024, and I typically don't date my shows. However, I think that this moment right here is so powerful because this moment right here in the year that we're in is all about how do we stick with it? How do we stick it so that we finish really strong and really big, and so that our year soars? So when we're looking at today, this show and what we're going to be doing here, this is about trusting the journey beyond the New Year's spark. We get this little New Year's spark that just, lots of fire under us. And we can get this New Year's spark not only from January 1st, but we can also get it in June. We could get it in October. There are key months where it's almost like we get this little lift and we get, yeah, I'm going to get restarted and I'm going to do this. We probably do it once a quarter. And I love this because this topic of trusting your journey beyond the New Year's spark, your new year can start anytime. At any time. It is not just conducive to January 1st. So we're looking at this. How do we stick it? How do we maintain our motivation? How do we maintain the drive that we started with? Many of you have set New Year's goals or first quarter goals, maybe end of the year goals. You've set these and you've been on a pathway to accomplishing them, but you might have already fizzled out. 3 weeks, 4 weeks in, you could have already fizzled out. And I want you to know that that is okay. It's just normal, y'all. We're going to fizzle out. I have fizzled out so many times in my life on something, whether it had to do with health, because that is my industry that I'm in, is in vibrant health. And yeah, there are times when I have just lost the fizz for it. And sometimes in my business when I'm going for something, maybe in the way that I'm serving in the community, fizzles. We just get a fizzle sometimes. And y'all, it's really okay. It happens. We are on that little ebb and flow. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we dip down, and it's okay. We just get back on the flow. We do. That is what it is to continue to soar and to grow, is just to get back to it. So give yourself that space to fizzle out a little bit. But the moment you notice you just fizzled, give yourself a timeline. Okay, I'm going to give myself 3 days to be in this fizzle. And by the end of that 3 days, I am going to get right back on it. So that is my pro tip for you today that I'm starting with. But before we head any further into what we're doing, I would love to check in and have you check in and see what is your vitality score for this moment where you are sitting there watching the show. Maybe you're driving, maybe you are doing any number of things, and yet you are here with us. So emotionally today, with your emotions, how on point, how balanced do you feel today? Between 1 and 10, note how do you feel emotionally? What does that feel like to you in your body emotionally? 1 is you're kind of moody. Maybe you feel a little quirky. Maybe you feel down in the dumps. Or maybe you feel rock solid and balanced and you feel joy. You feel, joy. Then that's going to be closer to a 10. Mentally fit, where are you on the scale today? Between 1 and 10, are you mentally at a 1, you would be foggy thinking, and at a 10, you are super clear. You could be a 5 where you're a little in between. Write down your score. And now your physical well-being. How are you physically today? Are you low on energy, closer to a 1, or you have all the energy you need to get everything done in your day today? That's a 10. With some left over. That's a 10. Now your spiritual well-being. What number between 1 and 10 are you spiritually disconnected today? Or do you feel totally connected and just in alignment and you've got this? That's a 10. Or maybe you're somewhere in between. Write your number down. Remember, your high score can be a 40. That's your highest score. And if you are 30 and above, you are rocking it. You're doing great. Just keep going like you're doing. And look into those areas where you're scoring not a 10, where you might be an 8 or a 7. And look at that score and see what is going on there. And address it. Address it now. Don't let another moment go by. Don't procrastinate on this. Do it now. And if you are below a 30, then I encourage you to look at the score and see what's really going on in your life right now. Which area of your life seems to be holding you back the most? Because that is where your answer is. That's where you start. And through this show, through the things that I share with you, you will get some ideas on how to step forward in that area of your life. Because in every show, we address the body, the soul, and the spirit, your physical well-being, your mind, your heart, and your emotions that make up the soul of you and the spirit of you. So you will be able to get some direction from this show. But I am so happy that you're here. So happy to be here with you. So Deepak Chopra says, no matter how much it gets abused, the body can restore balance. The first rule is to stop interfering with nature. You know, I hold a vibrant body workshop several times a year. And in this vibrant body workshop, we are doing just exactly what Deepak Chopra just quoted. And that is, we get in tune with the innate wisdom of the body so that we stop interfering with nature's natural cycle, natural process. You know, so many times when I work with people, they just want to know, okay, I just want you to tell me how to eat. How do I set up my meal plans? How do I eat? Not really how, but what do I eat? What are the foods that I eat and what can I no longer eat? And how much do I need to exercise? Well, when we look at it like that, number one, it takes all the fun out of it. And number two, it feels very restrictive and punishing. And it makes us feel like we're wrong and we've done wrong, which totally puts a stop to any fat burning capability that our body has. And so when we get in tune, the way we restore our body's balance is by getting in tune to the innate wisdom of the body. And when we do this and listen and get to know our body and the specific needs of the body, that is when we can nourish it best. And we end up losing the weight, losing the fat, and our body will find its place in its natural weight. And that natural weight is where your body feels the most vibrant, where it feels the most alive and functions optimally. So that is our goal. Typically, when people are setting up those goals during their year, they are looking at physical goals. Most people have at least one physical goal, whether if it's not about their weight, then it's about their health. And to keep and maintain that drive, that trajectory, there's some things that have to happen. And that is what today's show is all about, is helping you tune in and find that place where that's your sweet spot, where you will keep going. You won't hit the fizzle. And if you do hit the fizzle, you will know exactly what to do to help you get back on your journey and maintain that journey. So this is all about how to stay the course once the newness of setting your goal wears off. You know how when we first set a goal, y'all, we are so pumped about it. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to build my team and my organization, and we are going to go for it. I'm going to bring in 10 new people the first 5 months. You know, we set these goals and we're so pumped about it. But then once we get going on that, what happens? Well, it's not really fun to us. And so we start cutting corners. We stop taking the action steps to bring in those people. We stop showing up with the thrill and the enthusiasm around that idea of building our team. Or maybe your goal is to finally lose the weight and never gain it back. Whatever area you have set a goal, this fizzle can happen to everyone in every area of their life. And so when you hit that fizzle and you lose the enthusiasm for it, you stop taking action and you begin cheating, I'm going to say. In the food arena, people label it, I'm cheating on my diet, or I did something bad today. And it's not about cheating and it's not about bad. It truly is about checking in. Y'all, we've got to check in when the fizzle happens. You got to take that Hawkeye view, number one, and look down at the fizzle and go, okay, what happened? And look at all points of view. What happened here? What came in and bit me? When I was running track and I ran the quarter in practice, one of my track mates, she would say, Ashley, don't let the bear get you at the 220 marker. Don't let it grab you. Just keep pushing through. And so I would set myself up for success and go, okay, I am going to do this. I am pushing through when I hit that 220 marker. I am not going to let it happen. And I would take off really good. I'd hold my pace. And then at the 220, I would go, okay, I am going to push through this. I am going to just barrel on and keep going. And do you know that that bear would capture me around that 330 marker? And all of a sudden it was just like the brakes would come on and I would slow and everybody else passed. And I worked on that pattern over and over and over again, knowing that it was just a pattern. It didn't have to do with my stamina. It didn't have to do with my ability to run a 440, a 400 meter. Didn't have anything to do with how in shape I was, or maybe even how fast I was. Didn't have anything to do with any of that, y'all. This all had to do with a pattern that would come up in my mind. There was something about me turning the corner, going from the 220 to the 330. Something transpired right there. And I have, to this day, I don't know what it was, because at that time, I wasn't all into the brain patterning and stuff. This is a reflection of me looking back in my life and seeing, wow, that's a representation of that pattern getting me when I'm 3/4 of the way done. So what pattern is getting you when you're a quarter of the way done, a half there, 3/4 of the way there? What pattern is acting like a bear and reaching up and grabbing you and holding you hostage? The way that I figured that out, that it was a pattern, again, was not from that time. It is from now, when I understand how the brain and the subconscious mind works. I can now see, oh, that was a pattern. So what am I doing? I'm becoming present in that moment and discovering, oh, that's a pattern. So when the fizzle hits you, it's about us rising up to that Hawkeye view and looking at that fizzle and going, okay, what transpired in my life that is a pattern that is getting me? Because that's all it is. It's just that pattern that was created from a memory in the subconscious mind of a way that you did it one time before, and your brain received some celebration. The brain received some hormones that made it feel good and go, oh, okay, this is the way we need to do this. And so now it's just keep happening until we stop it, until we are present. And that's the first. Well, I gave you a tip earlier, but I'm giving you the first one on this show. The first tip for you is to be present. That is the way we finally reach our goal, is to by being present with what is happening in our life right now. Those times in the past when you've given in and you have quote unquote failed because of this happening, you lost the trust in yourself. And when we lose trust in our ability to follow through and actually accomplish something, that's like the biggest, I'm just going to say this word, killer of our progress. It truly does. So if you have gone on a weight loss program to lose weight and you've said, this is it, I am doing this, but 3 weeks into it, this saboteur from your subconscious mind came in and you lost the fizzle, right? Or you fizzled out and you lost the heightened yes around what you were doing. And all of a sudden, you're fizzling and you don't know why. Well, wouldn't you love to not fizzle like that anymore? Wouldn't you love to be able to maintain and stay on that eating protocol so that you reach your goal finally and finally keep it off? Because the same thing is happening to everyone who goes on a weight loss program. There's 98% of the people that go on a weight loss program to lose weight and to keep it off, 98% of them don't follow through and do it after 2 years. So with sometime in that 2-year marker is when the saboteur comes up, that pattern comes up and knocks you off your game. So we've got to be aware of this. We've got to be present that that could happen. And you want to keep your attention on what is happening inside of you so that you can catch it. That's the key right here, is to catch this saboteur anytime it wants to burst your bubble and you fizzle out. We don't want that to happen anymore. So trusting yourself in this process is super important. We've got to build that trust again. So every time you overcome the saboteur, you want to celebrate. Yes, I did it. I overcame that saboteur. Yes, 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 yes. Help your brain to know that what you just did was really good. And the subconscious mind is going to say, oh, great. Now I know what to do. And it will put that into the pattern play, and it will begin playing that pattern the more and more you do it. There was a time in my life where going through Christmas time, it was guaranteed that I would gain 5 to 8 pounds. And then in January, I would try to have to get it off. And it was like, man, such a pain. And being a personal fitness trainer, it was like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to help people not do this during the holidays. What's up with this? And I decided, you know what? I wasn't going to do that anymore. I was not going to do that pattern anymore. How was I going to work with this? Because the key here is to be present. That was that first tip, to be present. To trust yourself and follow through is the second step. Trust yourself and follow through with what you put into motion, what you put into plan. Next, we've got to brainwash ourselves, so to speak. Brainwash yourself in the action steps, in the mantras that you're going to take. So my new mantra was, I am not going to gain weight through December. But then I went, wait a minute, I just stated the negative. If I state I'm not going to gain weight in December, then my focus is on not gaining weight, which is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to gain weight, right? So I had to retweak that, and I would go, all right, I am going to live at my body's natural weight through December, through January. This is just what I'm going to do. So how do I do this? And so I began really bringing in the mind-body nutrition techniques of slow eating to the point of energy, macronutrient balance, circadian rhythm of eating, circadian rhythm of sleeping. And of course, my exercise was always present. I was never one that had to talk myself into exercise. Exercise has been a part of my life since the day I was born, I believe. I've never had to set a goal to work out. That's just been a given. And so that wasn't part of the equation for me. Part of the equation for me were those mind-body nutrition principles that were super important. So when I began to put those in motion and focus on the ones that typically suffered during December, those which would be circadian rhythm of the eating and the sleeping. That was a big one through the holidays, right? We stay up later. There's Christmas movies. I want to stay up late. There was snacks at parties. I love to bake and give baked goods to people for Christmas. And so I would have those in the house and all of this. But did y'all know I didn't stop any of those things? What I did was I paid attention to those mind-body nutrition principles, the ones that I was setting aside during that holiday season. I just put those in motion even more. I still enjoyed some yummy baked goods that I had baked. I still enjoyed going to parties and partaking, but I followed those principles and I stopped gaining weight through the holidays. Right? That's jaw-dropping, because most people would love to go through the holidays and at the end be the same weight they were when they started. So it is about being present, being aware and following through, and beginning to tell yourself a different story. Affirm that over and over and over in your mind, over and over again. So I created a new story of how I would operate through the holidays. And I began telling myself that I was vibrantly healthy. I was at my body's natural weight all the time. I was free to live in this body that I love. Vitality flows in and through me all the time. My body is nourished. My body is healthy. My body is mobilizing fat all the time. I just kept up this new story in my mind, and that was the story that I told. And in that, when you say these things, this is where I call it the brainwashing, when you say them over and over and over again and live them, and when we live something, what happens? We feel it. So I was saying them at first, but then I began to living it, and as I'm living it, I am actually feeling it, feeling the vibrancy, feeling the health and vitality, feeling the body's natural weight, the energy that came from that. And after a couple of years, I stopped gaining weight through the holidays. You can use that technique on anything in your life, any goal that you have set, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your relationships, the way you serve in your community, or the way you serve globally, anything at all. It's about setting yourself up for success and following through with the success by retraining your mind so the patterns and the saboteurs don't reach up and bite you. There are many, many, many ways that we work with saboteurs in my coaching practice. Many ways. This is one of those easy ways that I can give you that's actionable right now for you, that you can do immediately to begin putting it in motion. And then there's other ways that we can dive deeper and really eliminate those from your subconscious mind. We can eliminate from subconscious mind, create new patterns, and that is a possibility for everyone to be able to do that. No one's mind is stuck where it is. Our brain is beautiful and miraculous in that we can regrow it all the time. New neural pathways we can create all the time. So no one's stuck. So to create lasting results, these are things that you can do right here, which is really in a nutshell of what I just did, but I'm putting them in a different little pattern here. One is inspiration, and that was where we created that new story. The new story of what I told myself about my body during the holidays. I created a new story, and that inspired me. And Ashley's Heart Song is all about inspiration, living according to the song of your heart. Now, the song of my heart is not around my weight. The song of my heart is around what I am here to do in my life. However, my body is the vehicle that is going to transport me so that I can do that. It's the transportation. And so it's part of my song, my Ashley's Heart Song. It's part of that. And in that, it inspires me. So that new story inspired me because it was going to have me living my dreams. Then I put healthy habits in place by bringing in those mind-body nutrition tools, brought in the ones that were going by the wayside during the holidays. I began to put my focused attention on those. So I created new healthy habits and put those in place around that mind-body nutrition tool to where I did it every single day. Every single day. I repeated it. I was consistent with it. And I did it every single day. Then I trusted myself. I stepped into trust. I released the distrust from the past because remember, I restored. So now I am trusting myself and I'm following through with my intention. And every day that I follow through with my intention, I build my trust muscle in myself more and more. These are 3 simple steps that will bring anyone success in anything that they do. Anything you set your mind to can be done with those 3. So the pro tip for you today is to slow down, slow down so that you can get present and see what there is to see. Where are you losing your fizzle? Where are you fizzling out? Sizzle. Where are you losing your sizzle and where are you fizzling out? I just love that. That's so much fun. So where are you getting off course, off track? Slow brings the presence, it brings the clarity, and it brings about the change to follow through. So slow down so you can get present. And then you can begin retraining your mind by bringing in that new story, healthy habits, and following through. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me for Ashley's Heart Song. Join me again next week as we continue to armor up our life.